Hi, hello everyone. I welcome you in my new video where I will be taking the topic sustainable development from class 11th, important for both boards CBSE and ISC. So, friends, I hope you have heard these few terminologies frequently. I mean, in newspaper or on TV or on internet, or maybe you have seen some viral videos. Some of the topics like the name I'm quoting here: global warming, water crisis, and very recently it was in news, melting of glacier in Antarctica. So what all these things indicate to? These all are some environmental problems or challenges which we as a human, we all inhabitants on the planet earth, we all the living beings are confronting nowadays. So this environmental degradations or the quality of environment is getting decreased day by day. Because of this, so many different repercussions we are facing. So why it is happening and what is the way we can stop this? So here comes the topic sustainable development. Under that, may which may gives us a lot of answers to these problems. So the topic is sustainable development. What's it mean? Sustainable development is a development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Here you need to understand sustainable means thing which stays over a long period of time. So we need to understand this, that whatever the natural resources we have, it is not only for us to enjoy these natural resources. We should use natural resources for the development purpose, which many economies across the world are doing it. But we must keep in mind that we should use in a manner that it keeps on getting refilled. It should not happen that it gets completely void. Over excessive use and over utilization, exploitation of natural resources leads to void. It will leads to vacant, or you may say it becomes zero, right? So we need to understand that we should have plan B. I mean, how can we refill this natural resources? I Natural resources is of two types: renewable and non-renewable. Nowadays many governments across the world are putting their focus on developing their renewable resources. Like, if I give you the example of sustainable development, that solar energy, wind energy, then your green spaces, and how fixing the water supply, and so many, everything that has a tendency to recoup itself, right, which can refill itself, which can regenerate itself, that comes under the sustainable development concept. Now, which is the first city in India which has been described as a sustainable city? The answer is Mysore. This is just I've added for your knowledge. Then you see, when did the Indian government awakened about protection, bring the protection of environmental act? So there was a tragedy. It was a very pathetic tragedy of Bhopal gas, where gas was leaked during the night, and many people died because of these poisonous gases. That carbide factory, from that carbide factory, this gas leaked out, and it took the lives of many people across that state, Bhopal, right? Now what happened in Madhya Pradesh, right? After that, government became awakened and they bring up this law, Environmental Protection Act. That means any industries who wants to set up, they need to follow some protocols, they need to follow some rules and regulations regarding the safeguard of the environment. If the environment is saved, if the biodiversity is saved, we, all the human beings and all the living beings, besides human beings, there are plants, animals, right? So to save them also, environment must be protected. Then who is regarded as the father of sustainable development? So you see here the answer is Maurice Strong. He has been taken, or he has been considered as the father of sustainable development. So till now, what we have understood from this point, that sustainable development is something that you are developing, you are using the natural resources in the present manner, okay, but we need to understand that we should use in a manner that future generation can also get the advantage of using the natural resources. Using should be in a manner that future generation can also take the advantage of using the natural resources. So side by side conservation must also be there. You are using it, you must have a plan B. How can we conserve the natural resources? What can be the way, what should be the alternative ways to use the natural resources? I mean, we should not go for the only non-renewable resources, because non-renewable resources are which cannot be renewed over a period of time. Once a time will come, then it will get replenished, it will be void, it will be completely gone, right? So we should not be moving into that state where all natural resources is gone, and if natural resources is not there, no development. If no development, then how can we stay, how can we sustain our lives? So why do we need a sustainable development? So the reason why do we need, in all these 4 points you will understand here. See, natural resource and environment is a common heritage. That means the present generations and the future generations both have the right to use the natural resources. Okay, they both have the right to live in a good environment. They both have a right. Here I'm quoting both. Both means present generations and future generation. So you see, quality of life depends on the quality of the environment you are having. If you are having a good environment, then you can follow a good quality of life. Then indiscriminate use of natural resources. Nowadays what happen, we are just running blindly behind how can we get modernized technologies, how can we make our life at most the comfortable way. In for achieving these targets, what we are doing, we are undermining the importance of natural resources, we are undermining the importance of the environment, right? The actual temperature that must be maintained on earth, we are ignoring altogether for the sake of our own comfort. So this leads to degradation, or quality of environment is getting decreased day by day. Then use of natural resources, the cost of development. We calculate, every economy calculated national income, but we never take the calculation of cost of development. Here cost of development means for the development purpose, how much natural resources you have exploited, how much it has caused harm to the environment. This calculation we never take in account, so this must be included. What will happen if you include this calculation? It will give a clear picture whether our national income is actually the national income, or after deducting the cost of development we'll get what actually amount of national income we are producing. Then what are the causes of environment degradations? So here it is important: industrialization, urbanization, population growth, technological progress, and agricultural development. In all these points you will understand, like if you set up industries, so industries usually leads to emission of some bad smokes that causes air pollution. It gives out, it discharges effluent that goes into the river, that pollutes the river. Then the disposals and the discharges they dump on the ground, that leads to land pollution. So industries altogether becomes the reason for many types of pollution. Urbanization means when the rural population is migrating towards the urban side, right? So that adds, already the urban population is there. When rural people start migrating to urban, it gets added in the urban population. Now to accommodate all these excess people coming from the rural areas, what happened, all the jungles and all the forest areas have been cut to, in order to set up a house and commercial places, or to build houses, so that this excess population can be accommodated there. So this way environment is getting harmed. Population growth, again the same thing. If population is growing excessively, uncontrollably, now to feed this population, to accommodate this population, to give them a good life, right, we cut down all the natural resources. That also leads to the environment degradations. Then technological progress and agricultural development, you see both of them somehow directly or indirectly are affecting our natural resources. For agriculture development, if we are not following the crop rotation, so it will lead to degradation of land fertility. That is a cause of environmental degradation. Again, if we are using too much chemical fertilizers, that also causes harm in the environment. So this way, technological progress, here you can understand, we are using, nowadays we are totally dependent on gadgets, right? Laptop, smartphones, and so many things. So after, when these becomes obsolete or useless, where do we discharge all these things? So the discharge of this e-waste, these waste are called e-waste. So this e-waste is a big challenge for many countries nowadays. Then what can be the strategies we can adopt to strategies or measures or steps we can adopt for a sustainable development. So here we must know that if replenishment of resources, if we are going to use resources blindly, if we are going to exploit the resource blindly, one day will come and everything will be gone. So we must not reach up to that point. Instead, we start planning how can we refill these resources, or what can be the alternative source resources from where we can continue our development of our country. Then environmental protection, we must make such norms and rules and regulations, we must abide by the rules and regulations in that way so that environment can be protected. Conservation of biodiversity, biological diversity. Here biological diversity believes here all the animals, plants, their living conditions, their natural habitat must be saved. Eco-friendly technologies, that gives you solar, like nowadays you have seen solar panel, right? We are using electric vehicles. So these are some of the eco-friendly technologies. These, why they are called eco-friendly? Because they are not creating they are not, carbon dioxide are not emitted a lot, and that is the reason they are eco-friendly. Organic farming, where chemical fertilizers are not used, only the natural manures and pesticides are used. And the lastly, it is the public awareness. If we become aware, if the public becomes aware, right, regarding the protection of their environment, if we become aware about the importance of our natural resources, so definitely we will try our best to use the resources in an alternative way, or we will plan accordingly so that the future generations or the coming generations may also have the opportunity to use these resources for their development purposes. Thank you for watching.